Good evening and welcome to Gay Liberation Network's live call-in show. The Gay Liberation Network is an organization focused on direct action around rights for all people in this city and in this world. You can get more information on Gay Liberation Network at www.gayliberation.net. Tonight, GLN members Brent, Holman-Gomez, myself, and Bob are going to be talking about the Americans For Truth About Homosexuality, a local organization here that GLN has been tracking and corresponding with for many years, and we're particularly going to be responding to an event that they have coming up. So we will move into that topic. We'd like to talk about the topic for a few minutes before taking calls, so please hold your calls, but we do encourage you to call in and interact with us. Bob, start out by telling us, what is Americans For Truth About Homosexuality?
Well, this is an outfit founded by Peter LaBarbera, who until about 7 years ago, was the head of the Illinois Family Institute. Both of these organizations are right-wing groups that are anti-gay, anti-abortion rights, pro-war, anti-immigrant, and so forth. LaBarbera was we believe, relieved of his position as head of the Illinois Family Institute after we dogged him for many, many years, and after his spectacular failures in his attempts to get an anti-gay referendum on the Illinois ballot, that is to say, a referendum advising the legislature to outlaw same-sex marriage by a constitutional amendment. And he backed Alan Keyes, and there were other spectacular failures, and he transitioned from his position at the Illinois Family Institute to a group that he had started on paper some 10 years earlier, and then he activated this group, the Americans For Truth About Homosexuality. Now, this outfit was recently designated a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Their website, that is, was designated a hate website. And certain criteria have to be met before a group is a recipient of the label by the Southern Poverty Law Center. The rhetoric of LaBarbera's group is so extreme that they were so designated. They are among those groups who refer to the push for equal rights for gay and lesbian people as a dire threat to American freedoms. And of course, they don't call themselves haters. They call themselves people who love homosexuals, but they hate the sin. But their language is so vitriolic that one wonders just where the love might be. And so this is an outfit that we've been monitoring for quite some time, and we think it's a mistake to ignore far-right groups, groups that some might find laughable, and some of their antics are amusing, but at the same time, we think it's a mistake to ignore what they do, because particularly at a time of economic stress, which we're going through now, groups like the Americans For Truth About Homosexuality will scapegoat gays and lesbians for the problems of society. They'll scapegoat immigrants. They don't do it, at least not openly anymore, but this is the kind of group that used to scapegoat African Americans. Somebody has to be to blame, and of course it's not the wealthy bankers on Wall Street. It has to be immigrants or gays.
Yeah. And we've been somewhat effective, particularly with the Illinois Family Institute, at having their fundraisers and things moved sometimes due to our protest, as well as we've we think that there's one of the other reasons to combat these right-wing groups is that there are people that may come to one of their events through hearsay and not really being too familiar with the group and support it without recognizing the hatred that is going to be ranted there at the event. And so we want to draw attention to that and keep any people that are on the fence away from these events, and realize how extreme and hurtful these events can be. So we've been tracking this Americans for Truth About Homosexuality for a few years. What's going on, in the next couple of weeks here?
Well, on August 4th, at the headquarters of Americans for Truth, and I'll give the address and other information about the protest in a minute. There is a speaker, so-called ex-lesbian, who claims that she was intimidated into being a lesbian. She's going to be speaking, and she will kick off what they're calling an institute or academy, to train young people. They're making a pitch to youth as young as 14. They're explicit about that. As well as older persons, of course, how to answer the, quote, gay activist misinformation and fight the homosexual, bisexual, transsexual agenda. So they're gearing this to young people. They're trying to recruit young people into this right-wing crusade against equal civil rights for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. We think this is particularly onerous that LaBarbera and his associates would be specifically targeting young people. The fact that the suicide rate among gay youth is many times higher than that of other youth, that fact alone should give them pause about what they're about to do. But they're not concerned, of course, about youth killing themselves because they're gay, because they have an agenda where they want to maintain, behind stained glass, if you will, under the guise of religious freedom, they want to maintain their so-called right to discriminate against LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. So they're specifically targeting youth, and we say that youth should not be taught to hate their peers, and thus fuel the cycle of self-loathing, depression, and suicide, which too many LGBT youth experience. Bigotry must be vocally and publicly opposed, especially when haters try to recruit young people.
Yeah, and I don't think it's news to anybody, watching this program that, bullying in schools and just all these other harassments that particularly are being taken out on LGBT people at this time in our society are only going to be fed by things like this. This reminds me a lot. This academy approach reminds me a lot of a Rodgers and Hammerstein song from the South Pacific that children must be carefully taught to hate someone, and this is the venue where that is being done with forthright appeal. So tell us where it's at and what time.
The protest will take place on August 4th at 5:30 p.m. That's a Wednesday, at the headquarters of Americans for Truth About Homosexuality at 25W 560 Geneva Road in Carroll Stream, Illinois. Now you can go to our webpage, and I know that address is printed there. And for those who are traveling from the city, we're going to be meeting at the Ogilvy Transportation Center at 500 West Madison at 3:45 p.m. We'll meet out outside there, and then we'll go in to catch the train for Carroll Stream.
Okay.
So that's Wednesday, August 4th. The protest is at 5:30. And I'd also like to mention that in addition to our organization, DuPage Now, the National Organization for Women, and the Woodstock-McHenry County PFLAG are supporting this, as well as, you're better with the Spanish.
Yeah, La Voz de los de Abajo, an organization for a variety of minority and immigrant groups that is particular.
Good.
La Voz de los de Abajo.
Good.
So, tell us, there's a connection as well to this heinous law in Uganda that was on the legislature's books there in Africa last fall that we had a few programs on here about. Tell us what that connection is with this AFTAH.
Well, it shows just how low LaBarbera and his associates have sunk here, in that they've invited a prominent supporter of the Ugandan bill to be among the speakers. This guy's name is Cliff Kincaid. Kincaid, as I mentioned, is a prominent advocate for this bill that's still pending before the parliament in Uganda, the African nation of Uganda. And for some cases, so-called serial homosexuality, and I think one or two other crimes, the death penalty would be imposed. This has drawn fire, even from some people here in the United States who had supported the anti-homosexuality bill in Uganda and other bills like it in Africa up to a point, including Rick Warren, the man who prayed at Obama's inauguration. But Warren, even though he maintains his anti-gay positions, has distanced himself from this bill because of its heinous death penalty requirement. But not Cliff Kincaid, and apparently not Peter LaBarbera, who has invited Kincaid to come and be one of the speakers at this so-called academy. Again, an effort aimed, at least in part, at persons as young as 14.
Yeah. The law in Uganda would make it, the legislation that is proposed would make it a crime for a parent that knows that their child is homosexual to not report that child to the authorities, as well as landlords would not be able to rent to people that are known homosexuals. It's a very scary legislation, and the idea that somebody could be out here in our neighborhood supporting death to homosexuals, to Bob and myself, is really harrowing. Did you have something else?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say that, counterposed to this legislation in Uganda is what happened recently in Brazil. And people sometimes think, the United States is on the cutting edge of civil rights and individual liberty. And here, marriage equality, to cite just one example, is legal in, I think, 5 states and the District of Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the entire nation of Brazil now, same-sex marriage is legal.
Yeah, actually, I think Argentina.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right. Yes, my mistake. I should have said Argentina. The woman president there, unlike the president here, went toe-to-toe with the evangelical churches and the Catholic hierarchy, and said, we're not, discussing, divine law and God's will here. We're talking about civil rights, you know. Like here, a marriage there is a right that's granted by the state, and so the state has now decided to extend this right to same-sex couples, and I commend the political leadership in Argentina that had the courage to take this position. I'm sure that there will be some costs there, but she said that it was the right thing to do, and her party supported it.
Yeah, that is really profound. And we've seen similar things actually in other countries where the Catholic Church is even more more powerful possibly than here in the United States. In Portugal and Colombia now has a kind of de facto marriage law that hasn't been opposed formally. So, Gay Liberation Network, again, is a direct action organization that is focused on rights for all peoples, and we have several events coming up, which I want to inform the viewers. This next Thursday, July 29th, Stop the Deportations. On Thursday the 29th, the Senate Bill 1070 in Arizona will become law, which I'm sure that you've heard about, making the presence of an undocumented immigrant illegal. And so there's going to be a demonstration here at 26th in California by the Cook County Courthouse for immigrant rights on the day that this law is slated to go into effect, 4 p.m. at the corner of 26th in California. Please come out and support our this group of people that is regularly attacked. Again, Wednesday, August 4th, the Americans for Truth About Homosexuality. There is further information on this on our website, www.gayliberation.net. The event is in Carroll Stream at 25W560 Geneva Road. It starts at 5:30 p.m. We will be leaving from the Ogilvie Transportation Center at 3:45 p.m. You can meet up with us. We will have a rainbow flag or something identifying us so that we can all meet there out front of the Ogilvie Transportation Center at 500 West Madison downtown to head out to Carroll Stream. We will be, Gay Liberation Network will be having a booth at North Halstead Market Days, so come and learn more about our organization and what you can get involved with. The Market Days is Saturday and Sunday, August 7th and 8th. I think it's from like 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Please come out. And our next organizing meeting is going to be Wednesday, August 11th. It's at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Burger Park Cultural Center, which is at Granville and Sheridan Road, just off the Red Line Granville stop. 7 o'clock p.m. Wednesday, August 11th. And again, all of this information is out on our website, www.gayliberation.net. We do encourage your calls and comments. And the number's there on the bottom of the screen, 312-738-1060. Thank you for bringing up the marriage rights expansion in Argentina. A group like Americans for Truth About Homosexuality has been very vocal. Advocate for not expanding marriage rights to include same-sex couples, and they are aligned with organizations such as the National Organization of Marriage that have been particularly effective in California and Hawaii and Maine, in these states that were exploring expanding marriage rights to include homosexual couples. And this group, National Organization for Marriage, is having a a van tour of the United States. They're going through various parts of the East Coast and Midwest over the next few weeks here. There is some information on our website about it, but there's a variety of protests that are going to be out there to meet these people in such places as Des Moines and Madison and Indianapolis and Lima, Ohio, which are just some of the areas near here. They are notably not stopping in Chicago. What do you think about that, Bob?
Well, I'm not sure why they would skip Chicago. Perhaps they're afraid that they would get a group like ours out in their face, and that would occur were they to stop here. It is important, of course, to counter these organizations that try to instill fear in people, try to manipulate fears that people might have of gays teaching their children. This group, the National Organization for Marriage, has been very good at creating and manipulating fears in their commercials. And our side has not been effective in countering this. I mean, what we need to do, we think, in Gay Liberation Network, and we've advised our comrades and friends in other organizations to do this, is to call our opponents out for what they are. They are bigots. Opposition to equal civil rights is bigotry. That was true when African Americans demanded their rights. It was true when women demanded their rights, when immigrants demanded their rights, working women and men demanded their rights. Opposition to those rights is bigotry. And we need to call people out, those undecided people that Brent referred to, who might be going to this this banquet where this ex-lesbian, so-called, is speaking. Some of the people are soft supporters. They're not committed. They're not ideologues, and those people can be pulled away from the hardcore bigots if we'll call the bigots, the hardcore bigots, what they are, and not mince words, I mean, it's important that we demand our equal rights, and that our organizations run commercials that carry that message. Well, but we also have to have rallies, rally public support for our position, which our people in California and Maine didn't do. And we need, as I said, we need to call out the hardcore of our opposition as the bigots they are.
Yeah, and it's particularly important to give a counterpoint to people that may never actually hear a gay positive message. Maybe they are growing up, children that are growing up in a home that is, of this bigoted, homophobic point of view, and they never know the opposite, point of view, and the real face of homosexuals in our culture. We have a caller, Matt. Hello, Matt.
Yes, hi. I had a question. What more can the gay community do to affect change at the local level?
Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you.
That's what GLN is all about. I would say, primarily, check out our website and come to our organization meetings and get involved in some of the events that are going on. There are groups that focus on the legislative process. There are groups like GLN that focus on social change and public outcry and protest and being that face of opposition to homophobia. And so we talk about music bands that attack homosexuality. We talk about and are actively against legislators that are attacking us. Bob, do you have anything to add about?
Well, we've protested against gay bashings in Chicago. We've protested bashings of African Americans. We've supported the immigrant rights movement, partly because many immigrants are themselves lesbian and gay. We're out of time.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us. Again, www.gayliberation.net for further information.